So here we are in Zone 3. We're at the entrance of the Jardín, which is our preschool. It's just important to take a moment to kind of take a look down the street here to get a sense. And why? Because we're about to enter the Jardín, and it's important for all of us to take a moment to see the disparity and the disjunction between this environment and what we're about to see in the Jardín. But in this community, obviously, we face a lot of challenges with drugs, violence both within the home and out. During COVID, it's an important factor for us to realize that our interpersonal violence, our IPV rates within the homes actually increased by 50 to 60%. Other times the mortality, suicide rates have been up during COVID. So you have a community that's already under immense distress and pressure. COVID exacerbated that at levels that are almost unimaginable. And in addition to that, the gangs themselves, we have a number of gangs that operate in the community. Let's remember, gangs are corporations, and they have levels and corporate structures, really. So we have a lot of local affiliate gangs who've operated during COVID, as always, but have become a bit more violent. But I think it's probably a good idea for us to go inside and then get a sense of that change from Zone 3 as a whole and into the Jardín. Take a moment and take it in. Anybody, if you ever visit us, I strongly advise you take a moment to join us here in the morning when our little ones, our pre-K, come in here to this space. Their faces, it's worth everything that we do here to see the smiles, and also the smiles on the families, the mothers' faces when they drop them off. There are no words for that. But if you take in the green, it's so important to create a sense of nature, a sense of air and space. I mean, our instinct tells us that a space that's beautiful encourages learning. It encourages emotional growth. But the great news is the research backs that up as well. So we work really, really hard to create an otherworldly feel here. And kids respond. Yeah. So this is our Jardín. This is our preschool. This structure and in complex serves our 4 through 5 and 6-year-olds. So about 120 students are served here. Again, experiential learning, even at the lower grades, our big focus is hands-on experiential learning, even for the little ones. We've worked really, really hard over the last couple of years to align our curriculum with the preschool, with the overarching curriculum and program of the school as a whole. Obviously, in addition to social emotional development, and a really strong psychology program for the families and social work, what we've really been focusing on in terms of our curricular improvements is to make sure that we've got our pre-reading skills in place before our kids enter our first grade over at the Clay Hill where we were earlier. Again, you can probably tell a theme here that we are committed to making sure that our spaces are as beautiful and uplifting as possible for our students. This plaza is one of my favorite places in all of our campuses. You probably see why. So whereas the kitchen that we saw over at the Colegio serves the Opportunity Nights program as well as all the students at the Colegio, here at the Jardín, we have our own kitchen for the little ones. Pre-COVID, I want you to imagine this large Pomodoro, this eating space, long tables with, we're talking over 100 students laughing and eating and enjoying meals. Obviously during COVID, we have not been able to engage in that type of group eating. So at this point, students still eat in the classrooms. And back here, again, another lovely space. Is our playground for the Jardín. And we were talking about the Guarderia. This playground that you see is under construction over to the right, this little space. That's for the little ones, for the 3-year-olds. That's totally new, and it's a work in progress, but this playground has been with us for years. Again, color. Also, like the interesting state of play for students to have multi-level, and it's physical, but it's also creative, and it allows for, this also is wonderful for brain development. One of the things, though, that's not so positive about where our Jardín is, one of the more challenging areas or neighborhoods in Zone 3 is on the other side of this wall. And so we have a problem. We have a challenge in the sense that kids who are here to enjoy life, to play, and sometimes are in close proximity to a real rough neighborhood on the other side. So we have to keep a big eye on that. And we have had incidents, of course, where individuals might come up and throw things over the fence or yell out things at our students. So, long term, it would be amazing for me to try and do something about this so that we could raise that wall a bit. Not to create a fortress, if you will, but just to, to prevent the kids from being exposed to that sort of thing. But overall, I got to tell you, this is such a beautiful place, and our parents love it, our kids love it, and our teachers are really happy as well. It's hard to believe, but 2 years ago, if we were standing here in this same spot, you'd be surrounded by flour, salt, foodstuffs, materials. This was our bodega for many, many years. But it's here on the Jardín campus, and it just occurred to us that it was not the best use of such an incredibly cool space that was such proximity with our existing preschool. So that was number one. Number two, the research is so clear that the earlier that you can intervene in a kid's life, especially kids who are living in a very traumatic environment, that first 2,000 days, such a huge percentage of our neurodevelopment unfolds. So previously, we did not see kids until 4 years old. And a lot of that child's development has occurred before then. So the earlier we can get in, the better. So we decided to start a pilot program for 3-year-olds. And so where we're standing now is our Guadaria pilot program. Right now we're serving 20 children here. And so far, our pilot has been a fantastic success in terms of bringing new families into the fold. One of our focuses for the Guadaria program is not just to take children of existing families, because our goal is always to expand our reach. So we feel like this pilot program has really been hitting a lot of strings of the cord, if you will. Oh, and again, like anytime you make an investment in any kind of programmatic improvement, it's a question of resources. It's a question of being able to afford additional staff and materials. And this space was made possible by the Barrett Foundation and the D.H. Ross Foundation, who were kind enough to join us and seeing the value of being able to intervene with our kids earlier in their lives.